Now, to talk about our module of the week, let's turn it over to Martin Anderson-Klutz, a senior solutions engineer at Acquia and maintainer of a number of Drupal modules of his own. Martin, what do you have for us this week?
Thanks, John. Have you ever wanted to use a component library like Storybook in your Drupal site without the limitations of Twig.js? There's a module for that. It's called Component Libraries Theme Server. It was created in January 2022 by one of today's guests, Matteo Bosch, and it has 1.0.0 RC5 and 2.0.0 Beta 3 versions available, the latter of which supports Drupal 9 and 10. Now, it is actively maintained. In fact, the most recent commit was earlier this month. In terms of open issues, it has 9 open issues, 2 of which are bugs against the 2.x branch, which is pretty good considering the module is in use by over 1,500 sites. The module works by allowing you to develop your components in your preferred component library and use them in Drupal. It is notionally agnostic of the component library solution, but the main integration really is with Storybook, including support for things like knobs, which are dynamic properties in your components, stories, which capture interesting states of a component to sort of show and test the ways in which a component can be used. There is also a companion add-on for Storybook to make it aware of your Drupal site. Now, within Storybook, it allows you to preview components rendered through your Drupal themes, so the rendering is always consistent between Storybook and Drupal. It allows your Storybook components to use Drupal-style JavaScript, and there is also a companion module called SDC Story Generator that can automatically convert a Drupal single directory component.yaml definition to a Storybook component story format, stories.yaml file for a smoother integration. So let's talk about Component Libraries Theme Server.
I really just want to hear you say that last bullet one more time fast. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So I guess my first question here, and may or may not be a popular one, is this seems like it's pretty Drupal Twig focused. Is that accurate? If I were using like a decoupled front end, would I be able to kind of use this to link those, my Drupal to my Storybook to my front end as well?
It is completely Drupal focused. Like
Okay.
it's actually the point.
Yeah.
Because like what we've realized over the years is that we were trying to emulate what Drupal will do when rendering this particular component, and that's hard. Like it's admittedly very hard because we are writing PHP extensions and then we have to emulate them in JavaScript, and then you enable a contrib module and you don't know that those extensions come in. So the solution that I proposed in that module is to just use Drupal. Drupal knows how to render Drupal. So
right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And clearly it's very popular. 1,500 sites are using it, right? Has anybody on the call, well, other than Matteo and maybe Mike, has anybody else used this module or interacted with component libraries in this way? Silence. Okay. All right, fair enough. And Storybook specific, Matteo? Just working with Storybook, or is there a way or ability to extend it to some other component library service?
It is theoretically agnostic to the component library that you use. Admittedly, I don't know of anyone that is using this module and not using Storybook.
Right.
I like Storybook a lot. I would even go further and say it's the best in their space. So
makes sense. And I'm pretty sure it's widely used. I know there was another component library out there early on, which the name is escaping me, but it seems to have dwindled in popularity, maybe, or the support.
Maybe
Pattern Lab. That was
it.
I have not heard much about Pattern Lab lately. So, okay, Martin. Any other fun facts or anything else about this module we should know?
I think if anybody had more to share, it would probably be Matteo. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. I honestly haven't had much chance to play around with Storybook, but hopefully in the future, when I get the chance, I'll definitely give this a try.
I know that the knobs piece of it is actually interesting because I know. So I'm on a project, we use Storybook, and we have, configuration within Storybook to give designers the ability to say, oh, this is what it's going to look like if it's blue, or this is what it's going to look like if you use the right versus the left. And that aspect of it is pretty cool. And to be able to kind of integrate that into Drupal better would be awesome. So definitely a good set of features there. I think I can understand why so many people are using this.
One thing that I like as well is that it allows QA engineers to break your components very fast, like really easy if they have to. And also, it's a good tool to pair with visual regression for QA, because you have Storybook that generates different renderings of your same component, and you do visual regression on that.
That's a great point too. Yeah, you could jump in there, set a couple knobs, and then be like, "Hey, this thing doesn't work. Let's go back to the drawing board." Right.
So I'm guessing that that this module you don't enable on production. It's completely development only, correct?
Yeah, for now it is. So there is a valid use case that could be like, I want to show my component library to the world. Like, I don't know, the European government will do that, right? So others can know what it looks like. But right now that is not supported because we are kind of disabling a lot of the caching protections that Drupal uses, so you can work kind of comfortably in your local.
I envision this being used like, to Mike's point, like with almost like a statically generated front end where you're like building components on the back end and you're using this integration, and then it's like static and people are using it on the front end. But yeah, that might be one use case of many, right? All right. Well, as always, thanks, Martin. And let's move on to our primary topic.